Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new then hi, welcome, it is so nice to meet you. I was asked on Instagram to make a birth story. I've actually got two children. We've got Nevaeh, who is 2 years old, and Leo, who will be 1 in 2 months. I've already made my birth story on Nevaeh, you might have already seen it. If you haven't, then I will leave the link down below, so once you finish watching this, you can watch that if you like. Leo's experience is quite different to Nevaeh's, and that is what I'm going to be talking about today. So get yourself comfy, get yourself a cup of tea, maybe a biscuit, get a blanket, although actually in this weather today, whew, it's a bit warm, isn't it? So forget the blanket, skip that part. Just get yourself a drink, get cozy, and yeah, let's get started. I do have a recording of when Leo was actually born into the world. With Nevaeh on her video, I didn't have a recording of her physically being born. I had photos and I had a clip of afterwards, the first moment that I held her, so I included that in that video. But for Leo's, I do actually have the clip of him being born. So I've already blurred out my private parts because no one wants to see that. And yeah, at the end of this video, I will include that. So you will see the magical moment that he was born. I'm getting emotional. Oh my God, I've only just started and I've already got tears in my eyes. Pull yourself together, come on. Whew. Yes, at the end of this video, I will include that clip and some photos. So yeah, once you've watched this video, you'll be able to see the magical moment of when he was born. But let's get going. Okay, so I remember I went for a midwife appointment and I can't remember what date this was, but it was just a general midwife appointment. I was getting towards the end of pregnancy. And they did the normal checks, the blood pressure, the urine sample, all that. And then when she was like feeling my belly, she was concerned that she didn't think there was enough fluid around Leo, around the baby. There wasn't enough fluid. She referred me to the hospital because she was a bit concerned. She said there's probably nothing to worry about, but just wanted to be on the safe side. So I was going to be referred to hospital to have another scan. And so on the scan, they would be able to physically see what was going on. I think we had to book it for like a couple of days time after that, I think, I can't remember. But I know we went for the scan, and obviously at that point the baby's big and they're only focusing on looking at the fluid, so you don't get to see anything really. But they checked, and I then had to wait in the waiting area again for a consultant to see me. Had a chat with the consultant and she said, yeah, they were going to get me induced. Said that yes, there wasn't enough fluid and she wanted to get me induced. They were going to induce me. I remember asking, is that going to be today? And she said, no, we've got to pre-book it. So we booked it for a few days' time. It wasn't a long wait. So obviously they were concerned enough to want to get him out, but they weren't concerned enough. It wasn't like an emergency or anything like that. So we had to book it for the 14th of June. And what happens is the hospital ring you on that morning, or not the morning, but they ring you on that day to let you know when a bed is ready for you. That can be any time. Basically, as soon as a bed is ready, they obviously have a list of patients to call. When the bed is ready, they call you. So it was 8 o'clock that morning and they called me to say that they had a bed ready. I'd already been up since I think about 7 o'clock anyway, so I was waiting for that call because I knew that day was the day. That day was the day they were going to get me induced, is what I was told. Okay, so they called me at 8. I then phoned James. He'd gone to work because obviously we don't know when the bed is going to be ready, and they had told us it could be morning, could be early morning, late morning, afternoon, evening. They don't know when there'll be a space for me, basically. So James had gone to work because we thought if we're going to wait until like 5 o'clock in the evening, then he might as well go to work for the majority of the day. But he only ended up being there for about an hour and a half. He starts work at 7:30, and actually not even an hour, no, I can't count, half an hour. Yeah, he hadn't been to work hardly at all, had he? Yeah, half an hour he'd been at work. I bet his boss loved him. He's like, oh, hi, bye. Obviously, we already had our daughter Nevaeh, so my mum was going to come to look after her and our little dog Ellie. So I messaged her or rang her, I can't remember, Spoke to her. She was eating, I think, a crumpet at the time or something. So she was like, oh, I'm just going to gobble down my crumpet and I'll be on my way. She was going to look after the girls, Nevaeh and Ellie, for that day. But she then had to travel away for work. So my friends were actually going to come and stay overnight at our house and look after the girls for us. I remember I think it was just gone 9 o'clock in the morning. I was feeding Nevaeh, Mum was on her way, and my nerves were, I was so nervous. Like, obviously I'd already gone through the whole birthing experience before with Nevaeh, but I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because I then knew how much it was going to hurt. I sort of knew what to expect, but if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure. It was about 20 to 10 when we left to go to the hospital. And I remember we literally got round the corner and I was messaging my mum saying, I think I've forgotten something. I feel like I have forgotten something. But I think that was because obviously Nevaeh was left behind and I didn't go anywhere without her. Obviously now without Leo either. But at that point I just didn't go anywhere without my daughter. So I think it was the fact that she wasn't in the back of the car. She wasn't in her car seat. That was probably what I felt like I was forgetting. But I was so nervous. I was like, have I got this? Have I got this? I think I was probably driving James insane. He was obviously driving, and I was like, have we got this? Did we pack that? Have we got this? He's like, yes. But it's a nerve-wracking experience. The closer I got to the hospital, the more nervous I felt. It was about 10 o'clock when we got there. I remember the car park was heaving. It was mental. We finally got a space, but it was a fair way away from the entrance. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't that far, but when you're pregnant and you're waddling like a penguin and me and James are carrying our hospital bags, it felt like miles, but it wasn't. But to me, this pregnant whale, it was a long walk. They then took me to my bed straight away, got myself comfy, or as comfy as you can be when you're however many weeks pregnant. I know I'd been trying for weeks to sell a bunch of different things on Facebook and sort of Gumtree and all that, but I'd had no interest. The second I'm in hospital, everyone suddenly wants everything. My phone was going ping, 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 because all of a sudden everyone wanted to buy my stuff. But you've had weeks and now I'm in hospital. Now it was crazy. I remember messaging people saying, I'm really sorry, but I'm actually in hospital. I'm now going to be induced to have my baby. And they all sent their best wishes and they sort of apologised for, disturbing me. But I was like, oh, no, it's fine. You didn't know. But yeah, I think I was waiting for about 20 minutes maybe. And then they came and I had to go through paperwork, urine sample, the swabs, all that. And so yeah, done all them tests. And then it was very slow this time, very, very slow. You will come to learn later on in this video how slow things were. But I had to wait an hour and then they strapped me to the monitor, the straps on your belly. They monitor the baby's movements and you have the button to click every time you feel a kick or a movement. So they strapped me up to that. They said they were going to monitor for about 20 minutes. They told me that they could feel that the baby was very low down, which I already knew. I could feel that he was very low down. But yeah, they were going to monitor him for 20 minutes. But they did end up carrying on for longer because he was always a very active baby. I was always getting kicked. He was always shuffling about. So they said he was very excited and they wanted him to calm down. I said, yeah, good luck with that because I don't think he will. He's a very active baby. But they wanted to monitor him. They said they wanted him to calm down. So we waited. Oh, I remember lunch. Lunch was, it was a tuna jacket potato and it looked disgusting. Hospital food is very hit and miss, isn't it? It can be nice or it can be rank. And I looked at this jacket potato and I almost didn't eat it. I was like, oh, that looks horrible. But actually it was so yummy. It might just be because I was really hungry. But I remember really enjoying this jacket potato, just a random fact. But yeah, they said they were going to come and examine me. It was a long wait because I was in a ward and there was lots of people around me on their little beds and they were getting transferred to the delivery suite and they were just busy, which was fine. But I think it was about 1 o'clock when they did examine me and they said they would easily be able to break my waters and they would let the delivery suite know, and they would be told when they were ready for me. Might be a little bit of a wait. A little bit of a wait is an understatement. Oh, there's people that were more urgent than me, and if there is someone that needs sort of attention, then that's completely fine. That is totally understandable, but it was just horrendous. But while all this was going on, I was getting pictures sent from my mum of Nevaeh. I will pop them on the screen in a minute, that she was sending me lots of cute pictures, so I knew that she was okay. I knew she would be fine anyway. I knew she was in good hands, but she knows that if someone is looking after my child, I do like to get pictures sent just so I know that she's okay, and it makes me feel better. Being her made me feel so happy. It hadn't actually been that long since I had been away from her. It had been a few hours, but I generally didn't really spend any time away from her. So that and my hormones, obviously I'm pregnant, my hormones, it made me feel really happy to see the pictures, and it also made me feel really quite sad, and I was like, oh, I miss her. Which sounds really silly because it had only been a few hours, but hormones. It got to 5 o'clock in the evening and we were still waiting. They had bought me dinner, which was absolutely rank. So James went to the cafe. I actually really fancied a nice BLT sandwich. I remember I scoffed this sandwich like there was no tomorrow, because pregnancy cravings, and that is just what I wanted. And oh, it was so yummy. And the hospital beds, they aren't comfy. The chair that you get next to the bed, that isn't comfy. Me and James were constantly swapping, like I'm on the bed, I'm on the chair, he's on the bed, he's on the chair, constantly going back and forth trying to get comfy, and it was impossible. Got a picture of James laying on the bed. I will post that here somewhere in a minute. It seemed like every time someone came, like even if it was just a cleaner or whoever, it always seemed like James was on the bed at the time, so they probably thought, oh, that's cheeky, she's pregnant and he's hogging the bed. But no, it weren't like that. We were constantly swapping. It got to 8:30 at night, and I heard that one of the ladies next to me in the other bed, her waters had just broken, and obviously that's really good for her. I was really happy for her, but at the same time I thought, oh, that means I've got to wait longer. It's difficult because obviously you can't control what happens, and someone is further along in the whole labour and everything than you are, and they've got to be seen first, which is understandable. But when you've been waiting hours, it goes on forever, and there's only so many walks you can go on in a hospital. We did keep going on walks, but then I was always worried that what if a bed becomes available for me and I'm walking around the hospital somewhere and then they give it to someone else. I don't know if that's how it works, but that is what would go through my head. So we went on walks, but not very far, because I was too worried I would miss my chance. At 10 o'clock I went and asked, like, do you know roughly, have you got any idea how much longer it will be? They didn't. They told me if I was to have a rest they would wake me up if a bed did become available. I did try and get some sleep. James couldn't get comfy, so he actually went to the car and tried to have a sleep in the car. He got more sleep than I did. It was impossible because you hear all the monitors around you. There was people at the end of the ward chatting, even at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, they were just chatting and chatting. I think about 12, 12:30, I think I just gave up and I went for a shower and washed my hair, and just for something to do, because I was bored and getting really frustrated that I couldn't sleep. So I thought, right, the only thing to do was go for a shower, so that's what I did. But yeah, James is in the car. He had his phone on loud, so if I called him, if a bed became available, if I needed him for whatever reason, he would come back. But he went to try and sleep in the car. He said he did get sleep, but not much. And I got a little, very, very little. I woke up about 5 o'clock and I just gave up at that point. I thought, right, I sat myself up, I got my phone and I started messaging my mum, because I knew she was going to be up early anyway to travel wherever she was going. I can't remember, but she was going to be up early to travel. So I was messaging her at 5 o'clock in the morning. James came back at 5:30. I was desperate for a coffee. I was tired, and you know that you need to give birth soon. And I was shattered. I thought, how am I going to give birth when I am this tired? So we thought we would go and look if there was a cafe open. We didn't know if there was like a 24-hour cafe in the hospital. There wasn't. So I asked one of the ladies on the desk if she could make me a coffee, and she did, which was well needed. Around 6 o'clock in the morning, the ladies had a switch over, so I had a new lady come and see me, and she apologised they couldn't get me over to the delivery suite in the night. She said, I remember her words, the babies have been naughty during the night, we've had naughty babies. So she apologised, but she said breakfast is at 7, so hopefully I can have something to eat and hopefully they can get me across this morning. At this point I remember my stockings, them hospital stockings, which are just awful. They're awful anyway, but they were cutting into my leg. I think I have got a photo somewhere. If I have, I'll put it on the screen. But they were cutting into my legs, so I took them off, and it was such a relief to get them things off my legs. At 8:30, a consultant came to see me. He told me the plan of them breaking my waters. I remember thinking to myself, I know, that is what I'm waiting for. You haven't got to tell me you plan to break my waters, because I've been waiting for you to do that for hours. But yeah, time went on. At 12:30, I got given my lunch, and literally the second I was like, I had a little shuffle. I remember I had my food on my little tray, and shuffled, knife and fork in hand. Lady comes over and says, we can take you across now. I was like, okay, I didn't even want my food. I was like, right, let's go. And she said, no, it's fine. You eat your lunch, and we will save the bed for you. Eat your lunch. We'll take you across when you're finished. I've never eaten so much in my life. Not so much. So quickly in my life. I literally gobbled it. Gave myself indigestion. Clever one, Hannah. But yeah, so I was like, right. And the second I had finished eating, I said, James, go tell her I'm done. And yeah, I remember I was so tired and hormones again, and I was just so relieved that finally I was going to get transferred over to the delivery suite and they were going to break my waters. I was so happy, I cried. I sat and cried. Anyways, it was, I think, about 20 past, 1:30. I finally got into my room, my bed in the delivery suite. I had the biggest room there was, and there was a water pool, which I was really happy with. I remember with Nivea, I always wanted a water bath. I couldn't have it with Nivea because I had to have the hormone drip. So the second I saw this pool, I was like, oh yes, they've got a pool, maybe I can have a water bath. And they did tell me I might not be able to because they might want to monitor the baby. So obviously I felt a bit gutted, but I said it's fine. I said if I can have it, I would really love to have a water bath. I didn't get to have it on my first one, but do whatever you need to do, whatever's safer and best for the baby. At 2:45 in the afternoon, they broke my waters. It was really easy to break them, and hardly anything came out, hardly any water. With Nivea, there was floods of water constantly. With Leo, there was a little tiny trickle. So obviously that was proof that they were right, that there was not much fluid at all around Leo. The midwife actually remembered me from before. She wasn't actually the midwife that delivered Nivea, but apparently she was in the ward you go to after they've been born, and she remembers me. I didn't remember her at all, but she said, oh, as soon as I saw your face, I remembered. And she said she looked on my notes, saw my name and thought, yeah, that's her. How can she remember me when she sees goodness knows how many people? And she remembered me, so that was lovely. Gave me a birthing ball, told me to have a bounce on that if I wanted, and to go for a walk around the hospital, and hopefully the contractions will start. And it was to wait until about 6 o'clock, and if we hadn't progressed, then they would start a hormone drip. At almost 5 o'clock, they examined me. I was only about 4 centimetres dilated. They said they could feel Leo's hair, they could feel his hair when they examined me, but I was only 4 centimetres. They told me to keep walking because that was when I had the strongest contractions. They said keep walking around. I remember them telling me to sit on a chair, but like backwards, so your legs were sort of spread out, if that makes sense. And I remember the contractions. They didn't last that long, but they were so strong and severe and very, very painful, but they weren't lasting that long. Oh, and I remember sitting on this chair in the calf, like she told me to sit, and I had a contraction, and I was like, you know how like you can picture if when you have a contraction, like, oh. And I remember people were looking at me, and I was thinking, yeah, what? I'm having a baby. My baby is coming. What are you looking at? Obviously, it's just natural to look. If something's going on, you do just look. But I remember thinking, what? I'm having a baby. Yeah, I did that. I walked about a bit more and then went back to my room. They said they were going to wait a little bit longer because they knew I wanted a water birth, and I didn't get my water birth before. They did wait longer with Nevaeh as well. If you've watched my other birth story, then you'll know. Actually, they said that his body, he was at a funny position and his head was sort of leaning against my bone or something like that, and that was why I was having such painful, like lower pain, because he was literally resting against my bone, and obviously there was hardly any fluid in there, so it was painful. They said that if they were to start the hormone drip, that hopefully that would start the stronger contractions and get him moving into the right position. I'm not sure what time this was. I do remember that they struggled with the cannula. They always do. And my hand, like she struggled with it. She had to get another lady to come in and have a go. And my hand, I don't know what they did to me, but my hand literally like ballooned. I'm not even kidding. Like this. And I'm not good with needles anyway. I go dizzy and faint and feel all horrible. I go all weird. Like I'm going to pass out, and then I saw my hand and it was really sore, and I saw that, and and then James decided he was going to feel all dizzy and hot, so there I am. I've got really strong contractions, I've got these people doing goodness knows what to my hand, and then James feels funny. They've got to then check him over, they want to check his blood pressure, and it was all a bit much for me. I thought, I can't cope. There I am, I'm having my gas and air. I only wanted gas and air. With my previous pregnancy, I was the same. I didn't want anything else. I just wanted the water and the gas and air. So there I am with the gas and air for my contractions. My hand is so sore and it's like a balloon. James is feeling all faint. So that was fun. After this point, I think it was the gas and air. It was the same with Nevaeh. The gas and air made me feel really poorly, really sick and dizzy, and made it all very blurry. It makes you feel like you're drunk, like you've had too much to drink. And yeah, it's all very much of a blur after this. Literally like I'd had a bottle of wine. It's fuzzy, but I know that the hormone drip, it worked very well, very quickly this time. It was making my contractions horrendous, and yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. It was mega painful. It's all very blurry, but I know it all happened very quickly and it didn't take much at all. And he was born on the 15th of June at 9:27 p.m, weighing 8 pounds on the dot. And just like Nevaeh was when she was born, he was absolutely perfect, and there's no words to describe it. When you hear your baby cry, you get to hold them. You've carried your baby for 9 months in your stomach. You've grown this child, and you finally get to hold them. It's magical. It really is, and it makes me a little bit sad that I won't be doing that again. I don't want to do the pushing and all the labour, and I don't want to do that side of it again, but just the moment where you hold your baby for the first time, that's just, it's amazing. But it's not finished yet. Are you ready? After I had delivered him, I kept saying, there's still something inside me. There's something in there. I've not finished. And I remember thinking to myself, it literally felt like there was another baby in my belly. I remember saying, there's still something there. And I thought to myself, there can't be another baby. That's literally what it felt like. And I thought, there can't be another baby. We would know. And the midwife said, okay, if that's what you feel like, push. Well, I kid you not, I might as well have given birth to another baby. I was pushing, it really hurt. It was the placenta, but the placenta was huge. Even the midwife was shocked at how big it was. I literally felt like I was pushing just as hard to get that out as I was to get Leo out. It was insane. As soon as I had delivered this placenta, I felt a lot better. But yeah, that was. I wish I'd taken a photo of it. I didn't think at the time. She showed us, and all of us were shocked at how big it was. But yes, with Nevaeh, that didn't happen. Did I have like some sort of injection with her to pass? I can't remember. But I know to pass her placenta, that was nothing. Leo's, it was like I had a second child. I gave birth to a second child, my placenta baby. Didn't need any stitches this time. I lost hardly any blood at all. The midwife said that I lost the tiniest amount. There was a little mark on Leo's head where they had broken my water because there was hardly any water surrounding him. Where they broke my waters, there was a little mark on his head. They said there's nothing to worry about. It wasn't upsetting him, and that it would go, which it did. He latched on straight away. He fed straight away. He did so well. I think it helped that I knew what I was doing with breastfeeding from having Nevaeh. But yeah, he did really well himself. He latched on perfectly straight away, and he was doing really well. He told us about 1 o'clock in the morning that if everything was okay in the morning, that we could go home. We had a really chilled night. He was so content and just really happy baby. The other babies around us were all crying all night, but Leo, he was just so content and chilled. 8 in the morning, he had all his checks, and like the hearing tests and all that. He had all his checks. They were all good. He's got given a t-shirt. I can't remember what it says. I've got a photo of it somewhere. I'll put the photo on. I think it said something like "I'm a dad" or "I'm a daddy" or something like that, because it was Father's Day. Well, it wasn't Father's Day the day he was born, because he was born the previous night before, but that morning was Father's Day. And yeah, at 11 o'clock we were told they were going to sort our paperwork out and we could go home. What we did, we went to James's parents first because they were 10 minutes around the corner from the hospital. So on the way home we stopped off there so they could meet their new grandson, and they had cuddles and all that. We didn't stay that long because we wanted to get home to see Nevaeh. I miss Nevaeh like absolute mad. But yeah, we wanted to go home and see Nevaeh and let our friends who were looking after the girls, Ellie and Nevaeh, let them meet little Leo. And I've got some photos of the moment Nevaeh first saw Leo. It's 14 months between Leo and Nevaeh. Nevaeh wasn't at the age where she understood what was going on. So she didn't know she was having a brother, like a brother was going to turn up. She didn't know what was going on, bless her. But yeah, we've got photos of the moment she first saw Leo, and she loved him straight away. They've got such a special bond. And yeah, I remember her giving Leo a kiss. Ellie, our dog, was sniffing Leo's head. I think dogs can tell. I'm pretty sure dogs, because they always, both pregnancies, always used to lay on my bump, and I think that she could hear the heartbeat, is what I'm convinced. But yeah, Nevaeh loved Leo from the second she saw him, and I've got photos of that which I will show, and obviously I'm going to show you the clip of when Leo was born. I just want to say a big thank you to my mum and dad and my friends who looked after Nevaeh and Ellie while we were obviously busy at the hospital. So yeah, a big thank you to you. And yeah, that is my story. Obviously the longest part was actually waiting to go to the delivery suite. So we got to the hospital 10 o'clock in the morning on the 14th of June, and we got to the delivery suite at about 20 past 1 in the afternoon the following day. So obviously it's understandable, they are very busy and they have pregnant ladies who need to be seen before me. But it was a long wait. It was a very, very long wait, and yeah, but that's all in the past now, and Leo is here. I don't know how he's almost a year old. That makes my heart hurt. But yes, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you to the lady who asked me to make these videos, because I have really enjoyed doing it. If you're watching this video, I would assume that you're pregnant. You might not be, but if you are pregnant, then a huge congratulations. And just want to say that I send you all the luck in the world. I send you all the best wishes, and you can do this. So good luck, and I am so excited for you. Congratulations. And yes, thank you for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you were to do that now. yeah, thank you for watching. Bye. And another push if that's still there.
It's okay. It's okay. His hair. His hair, brother. His hair. See, you can do it. He's fine.
That's a good cry already.
You done it, my dad. I know, baby. I know.
Oh no.
You did it, darling.
You did it.
You did it. I know. It was hard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was so hard.
Oh.